Hi, everyone. My name is Abby Hudson, and I'm a marketing manager on the corporate team at Comfort Keepers. Today, I'm speaking with Bryan Huber. Bryan is the VP of Digital Marketing for Sodexo Home Care Worldwide, and he uses Comfort Keepers' uplifting in-home care services for his mother. Today, Bryan is going to share his experience with in-home care and talk about why hiring Comfort Keepers was a great choice for his family. Hi, Bryan. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Hello, Abby. It's great to be here.
So why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Sure. So, growing up in the 70s and 80s, just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, very typical upbringing. We would come home when the street lights came on and ride bikes all day and walk to school. And, it was just a very normal suburban style upbringing.
And, today we're talking about your mom and the services that she receives. When did you know that it was time to have a conversation about finding a caregiver, and how did that go with her?
Yeah, that really stemmed from my father passing almost 2 years ago at this point. They were obviously still living in the same home at that point. When he passed, her desire was to remain in that home. And so, with me being away, we probably live about 90 minutes away from the house. And, with the travel and everything for work, I really knew that she needs some help around the house. I mean, she was getting up there in age as well. And, not only did she need, help just doing some regular activities of daily living, she also needed some help just from, having a companion there to, be there, a human being that would show up and, help make food and all that stuff.
And I know that you are an only child. Does having a caregiver ease your mind, make your life easier? Do you feel like being an only child made this a more difficult decision?
Well, no, it actually makes it a much more easy decision. And I think, when I talk to other peers that are going through this process as well, a lot of times they'll have siblings to rely on. And again, from my perspective, it was very difficult to be, far away from my mom, not terribly far, but, far enough away that you would get concerned. And so, to me, it was really a no-brainer. It's like, we've got to get somebody in to make sure that she's doing okay, she's eating correctly, she's able to get out. Thankfully, we didn't have to have the conversation about taking the keys. She volunteered. She kind of knew it was time for her to no longer drive. So again, just getting her to doctor's appointments and things like that, there was no question that, we needed some additional help to do that.
And how long has your mom been receiving care?
Almost a year and a half now.
And can you talk a little bit about your mom's relationship with her caregiver?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a very interesting journey. So after my father died, she was very committed to staying at the house. It's where she wanted to be. So, the caregiver started coming over 5 days a week for a few hours every day, just to help make sure that everything was going okay. And about 6 months into it, the caregiver kind of called me and let me know that everything was okay, but my mom was feeling like she needed more care. And I think from my mom's perspective, having somebody there for a few hours a day was great. She loved having that person come every day and just be part of her morning routine, helping her get out of bed, making sure that she was getting breakfast and lunch and everything, and going out to the grocery store and everything together. But she kind of felt like she was a little bit more isolated in her home because the caregiver would is not there 24/7. So the caregiver said, hey, your mom seems to want some more just people around her, which makes sense. My mom was a very social person. So we got together and started looking at options to move out of the house into more of an independent living situation. Again, she would still need the caregiver. And so I wanted to make sure that the caregiver that she had at the house could transition into the independent living facility. And I mean, she was instrumental in, just mentally preparing my mom to move from the house. just helping her on moving day, get into the house, getting everything ready, like they had lived in that house for, 50 plus years, and I don't think they ever threw anything away. So, she had to kind of go through and say, okay, what are the actual pieces that you want to take with you? What are the memories that you want to take with you? So, again, that was great. So on moving day, I showed up and we had the movers come in, and it was very seamless. And then on the other side, the caregiver, I think we were done moving all the boxes in that morning, probably around 11 a.m. And the caregiver had everything unpacked and ready to be set up and hung on the wall by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was very, very seamless to, help her get in there. And, again, without her help, I couldn't have done it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people feel like they have to personally take that on. I think it's great that you had help and that you weren't afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, there's no question. I've talked to many people, and again, even with siblings, and their thought is like, this just seems so overwhelming. How am I going to do this? And again, without, my mom didn't want to move to where we were, and honestly, we didn't have space for her. We have a very small house, and there just wasn't the extra room. So for us, again, it was just one of those things. It's like, okay, we know she's going to go through a journey. She'll start at the house, and then, at some point she's going to have to move out of the house. And how do we make that as, just take the emotion out of it as much as possible to have something consistent there. And that would be the caregiver.
And your mom still receives care even though she's moved out of her home, right?
That's correct. And, it has been, again, continuing on with this journey, it's been a year and a half now. So she started at independent living, which was great. She could get out a little bit. And then, of course, we had this thing called COVID-19 pop up. And I would say around that time, maybe a month or two into that, I had actually started getting the house ready to put on the market and everything. And the community that she was in called and said, she's demonstrating some things that lead us to believe that she needs some additional care. So we had to move her from independent up to assisted, which has been much better for her. And, of course I had to, kind of facilitate that move within the community during COVID, get the house on the market. And again, I wanted to make this as easy as possible for my mom. So, the caregiver was there every step of the way, helped, again, get everything packed up for the mover to come in. And even though she was just moving a building over, it was still kind of traumatic. She was going from one apartment to a new apartment. So the comfort keeper came in and really helped mimic the style that she had set up before so that everything looked familiar to her. So, again, we've kind of gone from home to independent living and now to assisted living. And again, she just, with everything in Ohio being locked down, not being able to go out and see my mom, with comfort keepers being deemed an essential worker, she has been able to go in there every day since COVID started. And, it's just, again, it's been that person that my mom's used to seeing every day, has a relationship with. And for me, that's been invaluable because, they won't let us come in at this point. So.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that they can have a caregiver come into an independent or assisted living facility if they have a loved one that needs some extra help. You already touched on this a little bit, but can you talk more about the value that having a caregiver brings to your mom in her assisted living facility?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and especially during the COVID-19 times, she's really not allowed to do too much, right? She can go down and eat meals and things like that. But, from, getting out, getting medication, paying bills, I have conversations with the caregiver just to make sure that everything is okay, has something come in that she needs help understanding, which would have been a lot easier before when I could make visits and say, okay, here's all the paperwork and everything. But, having that person there that fully, can communicate to me that, hey, here's what's come in the mail. What do you want me to do about this? Is this a quarterly thing? So, again, she's really helping us, manage what is going on, not only from, the day to day and helping, make sure that my mom's okay, but all the other things that I have to deal with as well. So even signing the papers, we had to bring in a notary public because obviously nobody was allowed in. So within the community, they have a notary public. So, I told the caregiver exactly what was happening. Obviously had conversations with the notary public as well. But the caregiver was able to explain to my mom what was going on, remind her, so I'd had many conversations with her about, hey, we're going to go through a house closing. It's going to be a little bit different than what you're used to because you can't leave, we can't come in. And so, she's very instrumental in helping make sure that was a very seamless process.
And at Comfort Keepers, we talk about the importance of elevating the human spirit and providing care that goes beyond the standard to bring joy and hope and connection. How does your mom's caregiver elevate her spirit?
Well, again, it's been a very, interesting year and a half for sure. And, from my mom's perspective of losing my dad, after they were married for 50 plus years and, saying, hey, I don't want to be in the house anymore because, it's not a huge house, but it's a, big enough house where, at night she wasn't feeling super safe. And then, moving into independent and then moving into assisted, you can just tell when I call her or I see her on a video call, that she's doing well. She's not just sitting in an apartment somewhere and nobody is, they may be coming by every couple hours to say hello and how's everything going and, can I give you your medicine? But someone to talk to and, just help keep her spirits, lifted and her mind engaged and those types of things. So that's been, from an only son standpoint, that's been, more valuable than anything.
Mm-hmm. And are there any activities that your mom loves that she does with her caregiver?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, one of her favorite things is she likes to see pictures of her granddaughter, who's a senior in high school this year, which has obviously been a little bit different than she had expected, but she's been able to go back and we've been able to send her photos of things that she likes to see. So, her sports and her activities and those types of things. With the tablet that she uses, the caregiver can help her and talk to her about those pictures and make sure that she sees them. The other thing, she just, she likes to at least get out in the hall and go for walks. She used to like to get outside and go for walks, but, they want to keep everybody in the facility. So she helps her get out and do that. And then just, make sure if there's anything around the community that she wants to be engaged with, that, she signed up for that and she can go do that.
And what advice would you give to an adult child who maybe has a hard time asking for help or who feels like it's their duty to be the sole caregiver for an aging parent?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And, even working in this industry for many, many years, once the scenario descends upon you and you are dealing with it personally, it really kind of changes your perspective on everything because, you can hear all the stories that happen, we waited too long, we did this. And for me, I was able to say, okay, I know what needs to happen here. I know my mom, she's going to have needs once my dad passes. So I've got to mentally be able to prepare myself for what's going to happen after he passes, but, then be able to take care of her and still be able to, perform my job and do everything that I need to do from a day-to-day standpoint. So, I certainly talk to many people. And again, I'm fortunate because I work in this industry. So, I can talk to, colleagues and,
Mm-hmm.
people that are caregivers and, are out there doing this work on a day-to-day basis. But, I would definitely say that, the first step is to say, assess the situation and say, as an only child, how can I, impact the quality of both of our lives so that, I can't be with my mom 24/7, but I can provide a great environment for that to happen where, she's engaged and, someone's talking to her. And, again, it's more like, one of those scenarios where she would have friends come over all the time. And, as those friends age and she can't drive and everything anymore, she became more and more isolated. And that was my fear, is that, she would just become so isolated that no one could see her. So, the great solution to that was obviously comfort keepers. I think it really just comes down to, understanding that, senior needs are, they are a lot greater than you think they are as you're going into this, because, as a son, you think, well, this is my mom, she was able to do all these things when I was young, she was able to take care of herself and take care of the family and make sure that all the meals were cooked and everything. And once that doesn't happen anymore, that's when you really have to say, okay, there's a situation here. I need to talk to somebody about it. And, of course, calling comfort keepers is always a good first step.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, and thank you to everyone who's watching this video. If you want to see how we can help your senior loved one live their highest quality of life, visit us at comfortkeepers.com and comment below if you have any questions about care or if you want to share your own story. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and have a joyful day.